Welcome back to Morning Express. We're glad you're watching on this Monday. What a great session that Michael had there with a guest on The Way It Is, breaking down the big stories we've been covering for you. And I've been seeing a lot of your feedback coming through. We'll definitely be having a look at some of what you had to say as we wrap up the show this morning. But before we do that, as we like to do every Monday, your inspiration, it is time for that. And we always look out and seek for people who we think their stories will definitely inspire not one but many to either live out their full potential or seek out other ways in which they can definitely make the best of life. And joining us in studio this morning is a young man at 28 years old. He's definitely doing some amazing things. He'll be telling us about his new position, which he's got into the Commonwealth. But he is one that has a passion about youth and has been in the forefront of shaping the youth agenda not only in Africa but in the globe as well. His name is Lawrence Ndambuki. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I must put a disclaimer, you are my friend as well. So that if that comes up at any point, because it has been great just following your life, Lawrence, so far, and so proud of some of the things you've been able to do. But let's begin with what you're working, where you've been for the past couple of years in terms of your position.
Great. Thank you so much. Great honor to be here, first of all.
Karibu.
And how many years do you want? 5, 10, 15, 20?
Let's begin.
Now that you gave away my age.
Yes, I know, that's pretty young. But the past, say what, since high school, so school,
right. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
school background.
I joined uni, I was in KU, I was in Kenyatta University. I did bachelor's in environmental science, and I guess that's where my passion for youth development work started. Right. And I was very active in the environmental club. I was Secretary General of the Model United Nations. I
remember KMUN.
KMUN, yes. Yeah. Shout out to all MUN people.
And it's still, they still continue in universities.
Oh, yes. It's amazing. It's Kenya has one of the strongest model UNs. Yeah. And that's where interacting with young people, getting passionate about some of the key things that come naturally to me, like environmental sustainability, youth and agribusiness, governance and democracy. And that grew into a passion that goes beyond just engaging in my class and studying my environmental science degree into African and global engagements with other youth, from debates to intergenerational dialogues. Yeah. And from there I moved on, started an internship at UNEP. Here in Nairobi, where I was doing a lot of, we formed the first ever mainstreaming environmental sustainability in African universities program.
So what does that mean?
That means, thank you. So basically it was a program that was strengthening the capacity of universities to develop curricula that responds to environmental sustainability for young people. And from there I moved on to the African Union in Addis Ababa. I've been there for the last 4 years. I'm a local Habesha. Oh! Just half Habesha now.
Half Habesha now. You speak a little bit of that?
A lot. Like 4 years, yeah. I had to learn the language. Okay. I had to integrate and get to know people and be part of them. And that was an interesting experience. I was working with the youth division of the African Union for 2.5 years to 3 years. Then me and a few colleagues came together. We were a bit tired of some things that were moving so slow.
Like what?
There's a lot of, the AU is good, it's amazing, it's responding to a lot of things, but it's not as dynamic for young people who really want to, you know, be innovative and invent new things and suggest new things. There's a lot of hierarchy, and despite the fact that it's responding to a lot of work that is helping governments in Africa. Right. And we just formed a policy think tank that strengthens the work of the AU, which basically, it's called the African Observatory for Policy Practice and Youth Studies, which basically mainstreams youth development or rather gives the African Union and the UN agencies in Ethiopia the ability to actually disaggregate data on youth and get to have evidence-based policy making and programming on youth development. Yeah. And here I am now. I'm about to leave, actually. I'm relocating. I just got appointed to be a program officer of the Commonwealth. I'll be a youth advisor for the Africa region. So I'm excited, looking forward.
That's huge.
I start, yes. end of August in London.
In London. So you'll be based there.
Yeah.
So that is quite a journey. And, you know, talking about, someone listening will be like, what, and a what? But so this for you is based on a passion of youth and developing the same, but also working with these organizations and forming your own as well. What is the need in Africa? What is what you've come to realize to be the challenge?
There's a lot, and I don't want to give a myriad of all this problems. I tend to always look at the glass half full.
Yes.
But there's a few things that I think need to be addressed and changed and redirected to address the actual needs of young people. First of all, starting with institutions that are in charge of young people. They need to be rebranded, re-strategized, revitalized to actually start being very specific in terms of their response to youth. When you look at intergovernmental organizations, from the AU to the UN Economic Commission for Africa, name them, there's a lot of ad hoc, tokenistic engagement with young people. So you ask, how do we solve democracy in Africa? And the first reason, or rather the first solution you hear is, let's organize a meeting to discuss about democracy. Young people are being marginalized, disenfranchised. There's many more young people who are not feeling like they are, the programs and policies that are being formed in these organizations are actually getting to them. So the very, if I can say, epistemology of the governance and institutional frameworks that address youth needs to really change, because as they are right now, they're not addressing the key things.
They're superficial, would you say?
It's almost, superficial, in the sense that they need to first give young people the opportunity to own, to create, to be equal actors and key stakeholders of like the development process, from design to planning. You can't talk about youth and you don't have youth in the room. It has to be an inclusive process. Of development. And the other thing also, with the young people, I think many young people think they are owed by government, by institutions.
Yeah, they say we are the leaders of tomorrow, give it to us.
And that for me, that's a very wrong mentality, because young people, there's nothing special about being youth. It's a transitional period.
Yeah, you'll get old.
It's a transitional period that comes with responsibilities. So it's not always about what can be done for us. The discussion needs to move to, how can we contribute to what this government and intergovernmental institutions are planning for us? So it's a change of attitude. It's a taking up of the challenge to be actors in the process. Yeah, because you rightfully say it, that because most times we'll see, especially for women and youth, there will be all of these organizations, and it's almost like it's put out there for PR that yes, we care about the youth, we care about the women. Exactly. But when you look at whether there's meat and depth, a lot of that usually would be lacking. But let's first bring us back home in terms of Kenya. So you are doing all these amazing things for the Africa, the continent, and the world. What about here at home? What is it you sense needs to be done more? I mean, we saw the GES happen the other day, and the focus was on the youth and, you know, just empowering them to self-employ. But what else can be done here? There's huge opportunities, and having had the opportunity to work across Africa, I think I have seen that Kenya is a leader in terms of, especially on youth development across the continent. We're going way high. We're setting the pace. We're leading the flock in terms of setting what are the standards and the minimal standard of engaging young people. And firstly, I must say that the demographic profile in Africa as a general is tilting towards favoring young people. Okay. When you have a huge cohort of the productive age, that's already a consumer market, that is an intellectual pool of human resource capital that can be tapped to drive the economy now and in the future. And first of all, if you look at our youth entrepreneurship program, for example, that's a huge, that many other countries in Africa are taking this as an example. But still, I believe there's many more things that can be done, even within the youth entrepreneurship program, for example. If we have to dig deeper to ensure that 30% allocation for young people are actually being taken by young people. And this is addressing issues of access modalities to some of these finances that are there. Young people don't know they need to file tax returns for 3 years for them to be able to have a company that can bid for a proposal. They don't know that they can buy equity into dormant companies so that they can register and be able to, bid for these proposals. There's no financial inclusion and financial literacy that can make them have these bankable proposals, if I can say that. And so I believe there's a lot that can still be done to ensure that we harness that already ongoing momentum to youth development. And then the other thing also is just to ensure that we are inclusive in the process. We can't talk about fighting radicalization and extremism and we're only talking about the internet. Internet penetration in Africa is 9.2%, and there's a 91% of young people who feel that they're not part of mainstream development, and they need to be addressed. We need to find out. So there needs to be a research that gets to find out what are the needs, what are the priorities of young people in different regions. Definitely those in the north is not the same as those in the south. So we need to start moving into planning that is not just copy-pasting of policies, that is actually informed by the needs on the ground.
And Lawrence, listening to you so eloquently, elucidate where the youth are at, the challenges they face, and what needs to be done. And we will continue with that. But I want us to track back to just you. At 28, how do you get to be a person who's advising the Commonwealth, in essence, on the youth in Africa, and they're having their voice heard at that global level? What do you say got you to this point?
I applied for the job and got it.
Okay, that is the most realistic part of it.
Anyway, I must say that there's huge opportunities that we have as young people. It's the biggest question is always, what do you do with the opportunity you have? Many young people attend many meetings and take selfies with big people. It's nice for the bucket list, I had a selfie with Obama and so on. But the real question is, what meaningful impact is some of these engagements creating? What products or services? We need to change the tacit knowledge we have on issues that affect Africa into products and services that actually respond to the needs of young people. So if you're attending meetings and conferences and there's nothing sustainable in terms of the impact that you can see,
for the next meeting and that's it.
You have to secure the opportunity you have to create more space, more meaningful space for future generations to come. So it's about intergenerational equity, ensuring that it's for the sake of the future. And with this mentality, you realize that every small opportunity you have is an opportunity to make a difference and to create more space for others. So I think for me, with that from uni has been a framework in which I have operated in ensuring that we go farther when we work together. And the biggest challenge with I've worked with young people in Africa for the last 6-7 years while I was at the AU, and the biggest challenge is that there's a lot of duplication of efforts, there's a lot of reinvention of the wheel, and there's so much that can be learned from those that we interact with. Look at the mistakes that are being made and then use that to make a difference in the space that you have. So, and it's about ensuring that you make the most of the small space you have, and as you do so, and as a Christian, I believe that God only increases your clout as you are faithful with the little that He has given you. And as you keep doing so, He keeps expanding you from your country to Africa, to the globe, and it's sustainable because you get to influence processes, you get to be part of meaningful change that is going on. So I think that has led me to not just interact with high and mighty people, but to ensure that what more can be done. Yes, I've met you, Ban Ki-moon. Yes, I've met you, Kofi Annan. What can you do?
How can this relationship, how can this meeting get beyond just this selfie moment? And my director will let me know when we have the pictures, because we got a few of the pictures of the meetings you've been part of, to be able to get a feel of that, and we'll put up those on a split screen. But I like what you said about maximizing those small places we find ourselves in. From university, and you have KMUN, and there's so many young people right now watching, and they're in university and they have all of these dreams, and get to a point they're like, okay, I want to attend this meeting in the US and that's it, but to maximize that. But also traveling the world. You've been to what, 60 countries so far?
Yep.
About to hit 61 in a few days. So 60, that's, most have probably not even left the country. How has that been and where have you been to?
I'm blessed. I thank God because it's been an amazing journey of having the opportunity to both work and attend global forums that have been literally from across the world. From living in Japan in 4 months, I was in 2013 helping out areas that were hit by the tsunami, and we're literally working with community development people who are having revitalization programs because of the tsunami that happened, to the real process that started in Brazil and moved on, and the Sustainable Development Goals just got adopted in New York a few weeks ago. And for me, the travels are good. I'm a travel bag. I'm a globetrotter. I love. It's one of my hobbies. But the hugest thing I must say is, first of all, of course, getting to meet new people, experiencing new cultures. Yes, and you have some pictures on screen now. You can talk us through those as we, that's where? So that's with Kofi Annan last year. That was the African Green Revolution Forum. We made so much noise in that meeting that this was last year. This is the biggest forum on agriculture in Africa. The who-who's of agriculture come. We made so much noise that this year, they made the theme of the African Green Revolution Forum to be youth and women in agriculture.
Wow.
And they told us to come and shape what we want to happen in that meeting. So this meeting, for the first time ever, the African Green Revolution Forum is going to have young people in an intergenerational space with older people selling ideas that can be scaled up and financed. And that's huge.
And that was sad. He died.
That's the late Dr. Miles Monroe. Hugest inspiration. It was such an honor just to be able to meet him and talk to him. He said one thing to me. He said, you can, the sky's not the limit. You are your own limit. You go as far as you want to go. And, and that was amazing. Let's
move on along with the pictures. Let's see the next one. But yeah, amazing to be able to be in all these places, meet all these people, be part of. And this is the...
this is Japan. This was after the 4 months of living in the bundus of Japan.
Then you went
in the rural areas. Then we went to Tokyo for a few days and gave a presentation of what we were doing for the last 4 months. Very emotional because the community people were there, and we had created a bond together with them for 4 months.
For 4 months.
It was a lovely experience.
Let's see the next picture. A person pressing on. Okay, there we go.
This here, I was training the European Youth Information and Counseling Agency. It's in Portugal. They have summer universities every summer in July and August, and they invited me as a trainer on youth information systems, which is one of the things we are doing as a policy think tank to help governments to actually have data on youth information systems.
All right, and the next picture, let's see where you were and what you were doing.
This was actually here at KICC.
You come here sometimes.
No, this is home. I can't leave home. This was a youth forum by a youth leadership forum that was here 2 years ago, and it was really good because it was just after the government got in, and there was a lot of in this new second term, and there's a lot of talk about what can the youth do, and I must say it was an interesting experience. This is AGRF actually, the African Green Revolution Forum, the planning meeting, and it's going to be in Lusaka in September, and it's going to be great because young farmers from rural areas are going to come with their ideas, and they big CEOs making money out of agriculture are going to be in a space where they'll get a share.
This is an important one because this...
this is actually these are my brothers and sisters. I gave you guys your minute of fame. So no beef when we get home.
No beef from Debbie.
So that's my lovely family, amazing inspiration, great, a great blessing. They look like me.
You guys look a lot alike, actually. It's really the boys. You're so, as they'd say, copy-paste.
Yeah.
And this was...
And this was during the Financing for Development Conference in Addis last month, where it was a huge, let me not say flop, but it was meant to be the meeting that shows the financing for the next Sustainable Development Goals, and there was a lot of things that didn't go for youth and civil society, but yeah. Oh, this was Obama in Addis 2 weeks ago. It was a great pleasure to be part of the welcoming people when he came to Addis Ababa.
To Addis Ababa. Yeah. Okay, and you're traveling this week actually. You'll be going to Jordan? Yes,
there's a first ever global forum on youth, peace and security, which is organized by the UN Special Envoy on Youth. And the most interesting thing is that there's going to be a moratorium on a decision for the Security Council on youth, peace and security.
Yeah.
So it's a huge forum, yes, but we are aiming, I'm part of the organizing committee. We did the zero draft of the document. And what we said is we don't want to just have another huge meeting that brings 500 young people from all over
together,
to discuss peace and security.
Yes.
You know, we want to ensure that we can come up with one thing that is going to be taken to the General Assembly in September, which is a decision on youth, peace and security passed by the Security Council.
Yeah. So you know all of these things. How is it you get to be so knowledgeable in a wide array of issues, from environment to policy, you name it, and not only of Kenya, of the continent, and as having those conversations around the world. So how is it you get so knowledgeable? You read?
I guess. Well, read, yeah, of course, reading, but then also it's just ensuring that. Because learning is a continuous process. You don't finish school and you've learned everything. It's about ensuring that you can tap into the abilities others have that you may not have. So as opposed to ensuring that you're competing with other people, it's how do I strengthen the strengths that other people have and learn from them. And you realize that you grow more. You get challenged more because you meet within the spheres of work, you meet others who are experts in that area, and it's about how can we exchange and share knowledge so that it's a continuous platform of engagement and growing and learning. So it's a learning process, let me say that.
Yeah. Do you have a mentor?
Oh, yes.
Who is that?
I have mentors, not just one. Well, first of all, the first one is, he's called Emmanuel Etim. He is literally the youth guru of Africa. He's from Nigeria, and he's literally the man behind the African Youth Charter, the African Youth Decade Plan of Action, the African Union Youth Volunteers Program, literally the brain and the brain behind some of this policy and legal frameworks in Africa, and he's a great inspiration in terms of the work that he has done when he's so young also, because we're leaders as we're young people. It's not just about
leaders of tomorrow.
Yeah, we're leaders of today and tomorrow. So he's a great inspiration. Reverend Julian Kula, who's also my is a great inspiration in terms of just the visionary thinking and casting out.
And he's a great businessman as well.
Great businessman, ensuring that you can set high standards for those who follow, and these are some of the people that inspire me as I move on.
So what does it take? A parent would be watching this and thinking, this guy is 28, he's seated at the table of making decisions that affect the world. Their kid at 28 is in front of some TV with all of these things and running up and down. So are you a special breed, or is it possible to be able to actually just focus? And I guess everyone has their calling and their path, but how is it you get to be so focused, so young, and have all of these things working? And what do you tell young people and parents in terms of just guiding and parenting? I know you're not a parent, but hey, you have been parented.
No, actually, I like that you mentioned parenting, because my mom actually used to beat us up to go to Sunday school in church every morning, and when she realized that we're not going to Sunday school, she brought Sunday school home.
Oh, how so?
So yeah, we owe it all to her, I must say, because it instilled values at a very young age. It instilled very yeah, values that gave me the ability to say no to things that, yeah, will probably be detrimental to where I'm going or what I want to do. Yeah, and so that was a really good background that I owe it all to my mother. And also just the fact that you realize that when you're never called out to do something that doesn't naturally come to you. Yeah. So as opposed to wanting to know everything and wanting to be a master of everything, it's just about looking at what are you good in, what comes naturally to you. Yes. And whatsoever comes naturally to you, you can make wealth, you can create money, you can create opportunities with what naturally comes to you. We have a great enabling environment in Kenya and in the continent. Opportunities are there. It's a matter of enhancing partnerships, knowing the networks, ensuring that you can leverage on any opportunity that you have, and just learn and grow.
Some great parenting there.
Great. I owe it all to my mom.
To your mom. But also, do you have time to just have fun? I mean, you're doing all of these things, traveling. What are you into? Hobbies?
I have a lot of fun. I'm a musician. I sing, I play the guitar and the piano. I love traveling, love reading books. I play football and basketball. It's a long list.
Clearly.
I think the show will be over by the time we finish. But yeah, it's just ensuring that you realize that there's so much that you can also do beyond work and career and in fact you realize that you complement more your strengths when you're involved with extracurricular activity. I'm also a Christian. I play music in church also. So it's not just about having many activities. It's just finding what you love doing and investing in it. And the investment is from learning from others, from gaining more knowledge, from investing in just ensuring that skill set grows. Yeah. And
married, girlfriend?
Yes. Well, dating, yes. She's called Sherelle Wilson.
Yeah. And you'll get married soon?
Well, no pressure. Why are you pressuring me?
No pressure. You still have a lot.
We're changing the world.
We're changing the world. Well, the world begins with the households. You'll be told the basic of all of this, the foundation.
I completely agree.
You agree?
Completely.
So the most significant, moment that has stood out for you in your life so far, I guess greatest achievement, if you look at it that way, what would you describe that as?
Wow, that's a good one. Firstly, I must say, when I saw a program that we're doing with the Agriculture Department of the AU, we formed the first ever Youth and Agribusiness Consortium. And it has a $10 million seed fund from FAO. And for me, this was a huge milestone in terms of ensuring that money can actually get. I'm a youth and agribusiness enthusiast. I'm getting into agriculture also. And it was great just seeing the fact that all this policy work all over the continent is actually translating into the fiscal resources. The young farmer across rural countries in Africa is actually benefiting from that. And for me, that's the link that needs, that's the link, the bridge that needs to be, the gap that needs to be bridged. Ensuring that the policies that are so good on paper are translated into actual programs and projects that benefit the people that are actually aspiring to be part of this process. So I guess that's, in my professional world, that's something I can say that I'm grateful for.
Yeah, and a lot of these climate change conversations, the environment, appear to be those that are hard at a certain level, that appears to be aloof to most ordinary people. They don't feel involved, they don't see as if they're part of, and yet it's Mother Nature, it's what we are living in. What do you say needs to happen to get that to be more ordinary citizen, resonating with those people?
That's very good. It's a journey, I must say, first of all, because there's definitely the perception that there is elitism when it comes to youth work at these levels, at the AU and the UNECA. It's partly true because, again, when it comes to speaking to 150 presidents, you would of course want somebody who has been involved in the process, has quite a mastery of the youth priority areas and so on. And so inadvertently you find that it might necessarily be seeming elitist. But I must say that the question is not necessarily about who, but what is being done. Right. So for me, I wouldn't really mind whether it's the same person, as long as they're articulating the issues that are actually affecting young people and making a difference. So as opposed to necessarily being part of that process going on, they are actually measuring progress. They can have indicators and say, last year we were engaged in the UN Major Group of Children and Youth process, and we achieved a youth policy decision for the UN passed by the General Assembly. If there are milestones that can be counted, I would say that others can learn and get to grow and get to be part of that process. Okay. And you know, looking and listening to your story and your journey and where you are now, in fact, please break down for us before we wind up your new position that you're going to take up starting September. Because from the African Union now to the Commonwealth, what will your job description look like? So I'm going to be a program officer for the whole of Africa, Africa region. It's quite I'm terrified at the position. Yes. For the youth division of the Commonwealth Secretariat in London. So it will basically involve reorienting Commonwealth's work in Africa in terms of financing youth issues, but also there's a number of things that the Commonwealth is quite key on, from democracy and governance to alleviation of poverty to inclusion of young people as key actors of development, to youth development itself in terms of enhancing the capabilities and competitiveness of young people, gainful employment, entrepreneurship. So it will be a lot of policy advisory work, working a lot with governments, which I have been doing with the African Union for the last 4 years. So it will be a lot more of ensuring that governments do respond to the actual needs of young people. So it's huge. It's either I make it or make it. Yes. You got to make it. We're cheering you on. I'm excited. Thank you so much. So it's gonna be how long? 2 years. It's 2 years. Yes. Okay. All right. So you're gonna be based in London. In London, yes. All right. So you'll be visiting the fam. Home? Yes, of course. Home is home. So I'll definitely be coming. If you get the ticket for me, I'll be coming. No, I'm kidding. I'll definitely be coming for holidays and either meetings and so on. I know Kenyan government in of itself does a lot of work with the Commonwealth, and so do many other Commonwealth countries in Africa. So it will be part of the deliverables that I will have. So to you, the sky in all this, your journey so far is what? What is that position you would one day want to hold that you look at and go like, I'm coming? I want to replace Ban Ki-moon. Kabisa. So maybe in a few years. We'll get to see how that goes. Get to see how that goes. Thank you so much for joining us. And your parting shot, Lawrence, to all of those people watching and they're like, wow, amazing stuff listening to this morning. What do you tell them? I would say for all the young people watching, you have the ability in you. Progress and milestones is not about studying to be the best in something. It's just ensuring that you can identify the need in society and use what comes naturally to you, build the skill set that you have, grow it, nurture it, invest in it, and use that to meet the need. Wealthy people are people who solved problems, not people who got jobs and continued getting jobs. No, you identify a problem, you realize what can I do, what is my part, get to know who the key actors are from there, learn from them, partner with them, ensure that you are constantly growing in that skill set, and constantly ensure that you're relevant to the market that is ongoing. It's a rapidly globalizing world. It's becoming a global village. Learn new languages, get to know new skills that you don't know, network, partner. The world is out there. There's huge opportunities. It's just a matter of ensuring that we are very progressive in thinking, have a positive attitude, confess positive things,
yes,
and believe in God. God does have a way in which they align whatsoever you plan and purpose to do to become way beyond what you think or even imagine.
Awesome. And that is what we need for Kenya now, the continent, the globe, and going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for joining us. Lawrence Ndambuki Muli joining us on our Inspiration segment this morning. He will be heading to London, where he'll be based advising the Commonwealth on Africa region in terms of the youth, ensuring that that agenda is front and center and their interests are definitely taken care of. And you can follow him at Lawrence Ndambuki for all of his work. He posts a lot of that there, and thank you so much for watching this morning. We'll be looking at your feedback shortly, but also some great news this morning that we're waking up to, that our very own journalist with a background as an entrepreneur, radio and TV reporter and presenter has won the first BBC World News Comladumor Award. Nancy Kachungira was selected from nearly 200 applicants. She will now spend 3 months at the BBC in London and also report from Africa for the BBC TV, radio and online. The award was established to honor Comladumor, a presenter for BBC World News, who died, of course, suddenly aged 41. Nancy grew up in Uganda, where she attended Makerere University in Kampala. She has more than 14 years of experience working across a range of media in Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, as well as a master's degree in communications from Leeds University. She is currently the anchor of primetime evening news on KTN, where she is also our social media editor here on KTN. There are two runners-up for that particular award: Leila D. Dugan from South Africa and Parkway Thiasare from Ghana. Comladumor was an exceptional Ghanaian broadcaster who, in his short life, made an extraordinary impact in Ghana, in Africa and around the world. And it's definitely congratulations to Nancy Kachungira.
Absolutely, our very own right here, and great stuff there. That's good news, and what a way to start a week with our very own Nancy Kachungira. Congratulations if you're watching, and yeah, do bring us the cake or whatever it is, or we'll get one.
I was thinking of, let me not put a stereotypical...
celebration has to be marked with something sweet. Kenyan way. So cake has to be there. Look at it, weddings, birthdays.
So she don't want to bring the cake, or you don't want to bring the cake?
Whichever way, there has to be cake. If she's not bringing one, I'll get one. I'll put myself on the line.
Nancy,
and get one.
I'm going to hold him to that. Cake for everybody to celebrate.
And you do know I keep my word.
Well, at least you brought cake for my birthday. So, Sora, you keep your word. Thank you so much for joining us today. Great show. Yes.
I think we've started very well. Very inspiring young man there, Mr. Ndambuki. And at 28, I can't quite remember what I was up to, but I was certainly not representing Africa, that much I can tell you. But very inspiring, and good to see also the narrative change from the youth are the leaders of tomorrow to see they're actually leading today. And yeah, parents, I think it's about time we had a bit more confidence in our youth, that they actually do have the ability with the likes of Ndambuki. And it would have been interesting to know how his parents viewed him and whether they still view him as that. But yet, you know, the world views him as a leader. So fantastic interview there. Also, great response on the way it is. And the sugar still not going down very well, not too sweet. But yeah, we'll still continue to separate the fact and the fiction. Yeah,
and we're going to get Matsanga in, because he was throughout the show very upset that other people are talking about his country and all of this sugar, and he should be part of those conversations. So Matsanga, we're going to give him a slot to hear what the position of the Ugandan in this sugar conversation is.
He's normally very passionate about what he's talking about. He will change gears right here on the Morning Express. So we are telling you, my friend Banange, also you know Nancy Kachungira is from Uganda.
The director says we wrap up, or he's going to shut us up.
We need to leave right now. And those of us watching it from Uganda, God bless you. We
Thank
say
you, everybody. Bye.
God bless you wonderfully.
Lord.